Welcome to the training webinar for this week. I'm Dale Franks. I believe I have fixed many technical issues running up to this webinar, but I think it's done now. I think we are good to go. We've been talking about basically how to build an application and how to do some relatively advanced things. So we've built a form that does multiple request types. We've built a timeline that does multiple request types with a whole bunch of different process timeline activity results that are going to show up based on the activity type. I believe we went through and tested all of that last week. So we can now, I believe, wrap up this week simply by setting up a relatively complex email template to send our, well, we got to do a couple of things. First of all, we have to set some milestones, and we also have to run a email template that allows us to do multiple notifications in the same email template. And we'll have to set that up. So with all of that in mind, and with that very brief review taken care of, the new version of Zoom is different enough to confuse me. So share advanced portion of screen, that should show you what I want to show you. Yes, it looks like it's sharing the proper thing. So, okay. Last week, we configured our process timeline, and we added a whole bunch of activities to various, or we added a whole bunch of results to various activities. We created all of the activities we need. And of course, each of these results all have their own conditions as to when that result button shows up, except for resubmit, which we're going to show all of the time, but for different types of requests. So if there's a suggestion or an HR request, then we are going to show some various buttons. If there is a complaint, we're going to show a different button, well, two different buttons. And if it's a time off request, we're going to show an approve and deny. So we have all of these things happening. Now, one of the things that, or where we ended up last week, whenever we were finishing this, is we started to make a couple of milestones. So we set up a milestone where the request was returned for submission. And then we set up a milestone where the department head decided to resolve a complaint without HR action. Didn't put a icon on that. So let's just grab an icon real fast where the problem was solved. We'll just give it this nice little check mark icon where we determine the problem was solved. And we have a couple of milestones here. I didn't in all the things I was checking beforehand, I didn't check to see if there were any other milestones that I wanted to put in. And I think maybe in the interest of time, since we've already covered milestones, we have these milestones here. We made milestones in the form. I don't think it's really necessary for me to make a whole bunch of other milestones. We actually ran through this. We saw that it worked. So I think we're just going to go ahead and forget milestones. I think we're going to go straight to the email template today. Now, I've got a very generic email template that is going to need to be changed up quite a lot, because it really is just the bare bones of what we need for an email template. We're actually going to need a lot more stuff on this template, and we're going to need a bunch of embedded sections so that we can show and hide different portions of the email template at different stages of the process timeline, which also means we're going to have to do a little back and forth with the process timeline to ensure that we have everything right. So let's talk about email notifications in general. For an effective notification, or perhaps I shouldn't even say an effective notification, perhaps I should say for a minimally effective email notification, I need to do two things, or three things, actually. I need to give the user some sort of access to the activity or the form associated with the activity so that they can complete a task that's been assigned to them. So I have a hot link control here that if I click on it, it just has a link that is configured to use the email URL system variable. Now, this is really convenient because the URL is kind of long and kind of complex, and based on whether it is a named process director user or an external user who's an anonymous user, where we're assigning it via a form field to send to just a generic email address. The URL is always going to be different. It's going to be different for each task, and it's going to be different for each user. Okay, we can't really hard code a URL here. And that's the beauty of the email URL system variable, in that it will just create the URL on the fly for whatever user the email is going to, and to cover whatever status they have. Now, anonymous users get a different link with some special sauce in it that a named process director user wouldn't get. So we want to send a link to the email URL so they can access their task. They can click on the link, they can open up their task and complete it as necessary. I also need to put on instruction text, because the instruction text is the task instructions that they need to follow for the email. So that really does need to be part of the email notification for everyone who is going to complete a task. And then, of course, we need an email data control, because the email data control specifies a couple of important things. First of all, it specifies the subject of the email. It also enables us to add additional recipients. So we have CC and BCC recipients that we can add. It also enables us, although we don't use it a lot, just like we don't use CC or BCC a lot, we do have the ability to put in a custom from email and from display name. Now, normally we don't fill these out. Normally, the only thing we really care about is the subject of the email. In fact, we often just don't care about what the name of the control is. We kind of just slap it on there and it's email data 3 and we're fine. We are going to have to care today about the names, because we're going to have multiple sections on this email. And that means we're going to have multiple email data controls, because each email is going to have its own unique subject. But for the most part, we aren't going to fill out the from email and from display name. There is actually a hierarchy of what the from email address is that the user sees whenever they receive an email. And we should talk about that hierarchy. And in fact, I believe I have it in the documentation. And it should be in administration and metadata administration. No, not metadata administration. Sorry. IT admin area, installation settings, and it's either on the properties page or the global variables page. So we'll look registered email. Okay. Yeah, this is where it is. So here is this hierarchy. Whenever you send out an email notification, Process Director wants to throw in a from address. So depending on how you are configuring your email notification, the from address will be chosen by Process Director as the first item from this list that isn't empty. So if you manually configure a value in the email templates, email data control, then that will be the primary email address that you use. As I said, most of the time we don't do this. Most of the time, we just want to let the default return address be used, primarily because we really aren't interested in having people reply to our email notification, and we don't want them to reply. So we'll use one of the built-in email addresses that are down later on the list. So in the installation settings global variable section, there is a value configured called workflow from email address. And that is the standard email address from which notifications are sent. So it's in the global variables section. So if we go back to training here, I'll just open training up in a separate window. And we can go into installation settings, and we can go into global variables, and we have a workflow from email address property. That is our standard email address that we want everything to come from. Usually, as I said, we don't want people to reply. And since we don't want people to reply, we'll pick an email box that just doesn't accept replies, and we'll use that one. It's usually every system has a generic email box like this that basically gets used for the from address. That's an unattended email that nobody responds to. And in most cases, that's fine, because in most cases, we're sending out notifications of various types, and all we care about is that the email sends. We don't care what they say back to us. That's not always true. So there are cases in which you want to send a notification, and if anyone replies, you want that reply to go to a specific person. In a case like that, our email data control has the from email, this is the actual email address, and the from display name, which is the actual name of the person that you would like to have displayed for the email address. And they will receive any reply messages. And so even though we don't use it very often, when we do use it, it's kind of important, because there is a single point of contact that we want replies to go to, because our notifications might be requesting information. In fact, we might send out an email notification that says, hey, send a message to this person that provides some answers to them. For example, if you have an activity where you want to ask questions of users, you would send an email notification to those users. They would send the question or the answers back to presumably the participant of the activity, and then they could use those answers to complete their activity. So this is what Process Director looks for first. However, it is the thing that we use least, because almost all of the email notifications that we send are sent, and I moved my window inadvertently. Sorry, let me set it back up to the right place. But most of the email notifications we send are using that workflow from email address. But there is a fallback to that, because if you administratively cancel a activity, then the notification will use you as the from email address for the notification that gets sent on cancellation. So if you're the administrator who canceled the task, then you would be the from address. Assuming that's not true, the next fallback will be the email of the process initiator. So the person who actually sent I don't want to say implemented, invoked the process at the very beginning when they submitted their form. They were the initiator. So that's our next fallback. Although processes don't always have a timeline initiator. You can start a process automatically based on the value of a goal, in which case there's no real process timeline initiator. It's a system initiated process. So then there wouldn't be a process initiator email address. So then we have another fallback, and that is configured in the registered email property inside your properties page in IT admin. Registered email is right there. I'm the registered email for this system. So that is my next fallback. If none of the other settings or activities have occurred, it can fall back to there. And then finally, there is a fallback to tech support at bplogix.com. So we are 6 layers deep in what the from address is in an email. So there should always be a return address. We're not going to use the from email or from display name in any of these email data controls that we're going to configure today, but you should know that it exists. And if you actually want the email to go to a real person, you can set that. I often see people set this all the time, and there's no reason to set that all the time. The whole system is built up to have a standard email address from which emails are sent. And so the reply to address, which is what the from email is, that's where replies are going to go. You only need to set that when you actually want a real person to answer an email. Other than that, you can just keep the workflow email address. As long as that's configured, you know you've got the appropriate address going out to people. So great. This is a standard, if minimal, email template. Now, there are some other things that you might want to do. You might want to personalize your email template. So in this case, I've dropped in the email user system variable. This system variable is specifically for email messages to identify the name, which is what it returns as a default, of the person to whom the email is being sent. I've noticed in the past, I don't think this is as true now, but I have noticed that in the past, people try to use current user to try to identify the user to sort of personalize an email. Emails do not have a current user. Notification activities don't have a task participant, so there's no user associated with notification activities. And who the current user might be of an email, well, there is no current user for an email. An email is just a text message. So the only reliable system variable to use to ensure, and by the way, we try, if you use current user, to force email user into that, if you have it in an email template. I'm not sure that we cover every possible permutation of the use of current user, but at the end of the day, current user is the wrong system variable to use to try to customize an email. It is email user. Well, this is great as far as it goes. I think one or two of you might argue that click here is awful verbiage for a link. So we might not want to use click here as the verbiage. I did simply because it's simple, and nearly everybody does it, even though technically for accessibility purposes, it's wrong. You should actually label the link with what it is, not just a generic click here, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. We're going to have to fix all of this stuff. Anyway, we need to set up multiple notifications on this email, which means we're going to need multiple embedded sections, and then we're going to have to show and hide certain sections depending on what we're doing. To do this properly, we kind of got to look at our timeline so that we can build up some conditions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a new tab here, and I am going to open up, well, let's see, I need to go to training. We're going to open up training again. And we're going to go to our timeline, and we're just going to keep it open in a separate tab. We're not really going to make any changes to it, but I do want to have it open so that I can see what's going on. For me, it's easier to track what I'm doing by constructing my email template in the order in which these activities will occur in the process timeline so that I can go from top to bottom. So I have these 4 activities here. 2 of them are approval activities. So I can probably kind of link those 2 activities together. And then I have my HR action. Clearly, request a resubmittal, HR action, and then these 2 activities fundamentally create 3 different type of activities. However, there's also this final result notification, which is a 4th type of activity. So I'm happy with all of my approval messages. You've been assigned an approval task. I'm happy with them all having the same email template. So for these 2 activities, I can use the same email template, but for request a resubmittal, HR action, and result notification, I'm going to need more customized email templates for that. So looks like I'm going to need 4 different sections on my email template to handle all of my notifications. So let's start with the very first activity that, well, it's usually an activity that gets skipped, but it's the first activity in the process timeline, which is my resubmission notification. So we're going to start creating the different sections. Now, I can create them ahead of time. I can create them as I go. I think I'll just create them as I go so that we can, so that I don't have a whole bunch of empty embedded sections waiting for me to edit. But we have to go and add our first embedded section. So I'm just going to go right here to the very beginning of this line. I'm going to keep the dear email user. I'm going to keep that. But on this first line, we're going to go ahead and we are going to throw in a embedded section control. And we're going to call this section resubmit. So I know that this is my resubmit section. And then right here, after my email data control, I'm going to drop in the embedded section end. Now, I always need an embedded section end for every embedded section start. So, it's like parentheses. I got to have an opening parentheses and a closing parentheses, or in this case, an opening bracket and a closing bracket. So everything about my initiator resubmission is going to go here. Initiator resubmission does have task instructions, but I am going to change this verbiage a little bit, which means that you're going to have to watch me type. I apologize. An approver has asked that you edit your request and resubmit it. Please open, please, and then I'm going to go in here into my hot link control. I'm going to change the text. Open your request form to edit it. So open your request form is now my hyperlink in my email. And I've got these task instructions that will be my instruction text. Now, there are some other things that I might want to throw into this email. Approver comments. So we're going to throw in the approver comments here. Now, one thing that I might not have done, and this is why it's great to have the timeline open as I'm constructing an email and I'm constructing the information that I want in the email, I've just decided I want approver comments to appear. I don't know if I forced approvers to make a comment. So let's go back and let's look at our process timeline activities for manager approval and department head approval. So for resubmit, let's look at that result. And let's go to the Options tab. I am not requiring signature comments for a resubmit. Okay, good time to add them. I think it's important that if I'm going to tell you to resubmit, I need to make some comments to tell you what I think is a problem and why you need to resubmit it. So I'm going to force signature comments required on the resubmit result for the manager approval activity. And then I'm going to go to department head approval, and I'm going to find that resubmit. And I am once again going to make signature comments required for that resubmit as well. So now in either case, I get those signature comments. Now, this is going to provide me with, let me update this. This is going to provide me with a little bit of a conundrum. Because I have approver comments, but I could have two approver comments. Now, here is the problem with signature comments. If we go look at the form, like any other form field, approver comments appear, and they're right here at the bottom. See, there's my signature comments control. It's called approver comments. Looks good. There's only one problem with this. While it looks like a form control, and while I can edit its properties or its field properties as if it were a form control, it's not a form control. It is a process control. And the value that gets stored in the process, so if you were to look down here at the routing slip where it says comments, that's signature comments, right? Well, that's not a form field. That's a process field. This comment doesn't get saved with the form. It gets saved with the process timeline activity instance. So I have to call this via a system variable. Now, normally that would be fine, except for the nature of this system variable, which I should probably again show you in the documentation. So if we go into documentation and let's go into system variables, and we want timeline activity system variables, and we want activity, is it activity result or, oh, well, I can't remember. I thought it was activity result off the top of my head. Instance number subtask name, but that's not it. It's activity users. Or is it activity users complete? All right, now I can't remember which one it is. It is activity users complete. Okay, found it. This system variable is a little weird, and this is why it's hard for me to find because it's always buried in here. I never can remember where to find it. This system variable by default returns a list of all the users that have completed an activity. So if there were 10 users assigned, there'll be 10 users and 10 users who complete it, you'll get a comma separated list of those 10 users. Now, in this case, we're only sending it to one user, and that's generally the case in Process Director, certainly for approval activities. And it returns the list of users, but that's not exactly what I want. What I want is the list of the user comment for the activity. Now, that's easy enough to do. There's a format equals comments. I'm happy that will just return the comments instead of the user's name. That's not my problem. My problem is that the activity name, it's going to return only the comments by users who completed a specified activity. And I have to specify that activity. So what I need, And I'm just going to go ahead and copy this so I can just paste it into a system variable control. Well, I'm going to actually copy it to paste it into a system variable control. But I think also what I want to do is I want to paste it over here so that we can do a new text file here, paste it. Well, I'm off the screen, aren't I? Let's bring it back over here. So we'll just control plus plus this so that you can read it a little easier. So I have activity users complete. I don't need the result name. That's not what I'm looking for. I don't need the instance number because I always want the current instance, but what I do want are the comments. The termination reason, don't really care about either. I really only want to show the comments. But there's the rub, because I have to specify a different activity. I want to be able to show this no matter what activity was, what approval activity resulted in a resubmit. Now, I know there's only going to be 2 of them. I also know that it's going to return both of them if I use both. So this is going to be kind of unpleasant, the way that I'm going to have to do this. And it's going to show up as being kind of ugly. So I'm going to have to make it at least make sense to my end user, because I have to use this system variable twice because I've got to use it for 2 different activities. Now, this is just a personal preference thing here. Now I'm just trying to figure out how I would do this if I was building it myself. So feel free to accept this as not a best practice. This is just a suggestion from someone who's worked with the system for a while. So let's go to my process timeline. That is not my process timeline. That is my form. I don't want that. So let's go back to my process timeline, because I'm going to copy and paste the names just because I don't remember what I called them. So training, ADC, ADC timeline. So it is, no, that's the activity I'm doing. It is manager approval. So I'll just copy that and go back over here, and I'll do that. And while I'm here, I might as well just make another copy of this whole thing. That's not what I wanted to do. Copy, copy, copy. Paste. And we'll close that, and we will grab this department head approval to copy. And paste that. So now I have the activity users complete comments formatted for each of the users for each of the 2 activities that might provide a result. Now, before I even put this in there, I'm going to tell you ahead of time, this is not going to show me exactly what I want. You know what? Maybe there is something I can try here. You know, I said I didn't want to get rid of all of that stuff, but maybe I do want the result name. I only want the results for activity users that completed with resubmit. So let me make that edit here. Manager approval, and then result name, resubmit. My problem is that if I just put in as is the activity users complete format equals comments, it's going to give me every single disposition. Now, I don't have a problem with that in this particular case, because I do want to send ultimately a notification to the end user of what the disposition was. Although in that case, I'm going to use the HR action activity to send them that notification of what the comments were made by HR. But by being able to specify a particular result, I will only get the resubmission requests or comments rather from those activities where resubmit is the result. So I can kind of specify particular comments for particular results, which makes my life a little bit easier here. Because if I don't specify that, I'm going to get every comment. And I might not want to show the requester every single comment, but I do definitely want to show them what the resubmission comments were. So those are my two system variables. So now back to the email template. Now we can start playing around with it. Approver comments. Remember, I have to use both of these system variables because I don't know in which activity this is going to get returned. So what I'm going to do, look, there's a couple of things I could do, but I think the easiest thing to do would be to label them. So I'll just label the manager and department head. And that way I can just throw in a system variable control here. And the system variable control I want is for manager approval, this one. And we'll just call this manager comments or manager resubmittal comments. I might want to change this around a little bit. In fact, let's turn this, because we can do all kinds of formatting. So let's turn that into, well, header 1, maybe a little too dramatic. Let's turn that into header 2. And then I can put bold on the labels here for manager and department head. Let me drop in my control first, though. So we'll drop in my system variable control. I need to grab my department head approval comments. And we'll call this department head resubmittal comments. And now we'll go back in and we will capitalize department head, the label, and the colon. And that should be nice. I kind of like the way that looks. And I think I'm done with my resubmittal, with how I want the resubmittal to work. Normally I would kind of test this now, but I'm going to go ahead and build all of them and then we'll test them all at the same time. And if there's any problem, we'll just troubleshoot at that time. So we'll just go ahead and try to power on through this. Now I've got this, this section is essentially done. So this is what I want my submitter to see. So I need to create another embedded section, and I'm going to create it here immediately after the email template control. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I want to get my spacing right on my email and I want it to look pretty. So it's going to look kind of odd in the template itself. I see a lot of times people will just add in extra spaces or extra blank lines, extra carriage returns to add another section. And that's fine. You can do that. But I always find when I receive the email, it's a little wonky because that carriage return that you've put in there, that enter, that line break is now a line break that doesn't disappear. It's just there permanently. And so, you'll see the top notification like this one will just be, it'll be perfectly formatted in the email. And then there'll be an odd blank line that appears between this line and the first line of the email template on the second type of notification. Then there'll be 2 lines on the third type. We want to avoid that. So we're just going to go ahead and put our embedded layout control here. Oh, one more thing. And I forgot to say this whenever we started. It's important. Note here at the top, I do not have a logo or any other image on my email template, even though it does exist on the form. I just have the banner with the dark blue background, but no image, no logo image. I get this question quite a lot. What is happening with my logo image? I put a logo image on my email template and nobody can see it. That's correct, because Outlook will strip images automatically. The only way that you can see images as an email user is if the individual user in Outlook goes and makes whoever this message is from a trusted sender. And that's a little inconvenient. Nobody does that. So email clients, Outlook does it. I believe Thunderbird does it, although their method for determining, when or not to show it is different than Outlook. Outlook is very draconian as regards images. At the end of the day, it just makes your life easier if you don't put images in. I understand why people want to do it, and I understand branding and what have you, but as an implementer, you need to understand that your pictures are just going to get stripped out of the email. Outlook is going to do it automatically. Now, you might ameliorate this inside your organization if you control Outlook via network policies, and you can set a network policy to make particular email addresses trusted senders in Outlook. So you do have some control at the network level if you're an IT person to force it, but that won't work for anyone outside your organization. Your email messages are always going to have the images stripped out by Outlook. So that's just something we have to live with, because spammers and tracking pixels and things like that have made it impossible for any of us to have nice things. So hence I have no image here in my email. So that aside, let's go back and make another embedded section. And for this section, we're just going to call it section approval. And I'm going to make my life a little bit easier. I am going to copy some text and paste it in here. Obviously, I have to change this text. You have been assigned an approval task for a user request. Please open the form and I always capitalize form, or at least I always try to. Please open the form to review the request. No reason to get much more complex than that. Task instructions, obviously I want to give instruction text. It is also 1045. Goodness. I do want an email data control here, which, by the way, I meant to change this email data control. So we're just going to call this ED resubmit. And this new one that I'm about to create, so other controls, email data control, we're going to call this ED approve. And this is enough. I mean, technically, I could say I'm done here. So we'll just go into layout. We can drop an embedded section in here, and we can say we're done with this, and we can move on. However, you do have options. Again, let's go back to our documentation so I can just show you some stuff. So if we go to implementation and process director objects and forms, because email templates are forms, and we go to email templates, I do have this topic here called completion control. There are three methods whereby you can have people complete a task. We say it's complete a task from email. It's not. You're still completing the task in Process Director. Now, I'm not entirely sure that we recommend this, and I don't know if we would ever recommend it in, a particular scenario. It's just an option that's available to you because it's something that you as customers have asked for, and that is email result links, email complete link, and the email complete URL. There is in Process Director a task completion page. You hardly ever see it because you always complete tasks in the form itself by clicking the result buttons on the form. 99% of the time, that's how you do it. We have had customers that want to do it a little bit differently. They want to provide the result options in the email template itself. And you can certainly do this. And we have three methods of doing it. One is email result links. This actually shows you all of the results that are available to you inside a email notification. It allows you to show the icons if you have, set an icon for the button. It allows you to determine what the separator is, in which case, in this example, I use a bar and spaces to separate the buttons that will appear on the form. Do you want them to confirm their result? So do you need a confirmation dialog box? Do you want them to make comments? Do you want to require them or not? You can do that. Obviously, if you have signature comments on the form, those signature comments will appear in the completion completion page as well. And the email result links just shows me every possible result that I can have to complete that task. So depending on the task, it's going to show me the appropriate result links, and they're all going to be lined up, in this case, with a bar between each link, and it's going to show me the icons, and it's going to show me links on the form that are configured basically to do the same thing. I'm sorry, links in the email message that are configured to do the same thing that the buttons on the form are supposed to do. The thing is, when I click on one of those links, it's not going to just magically send an email. Clicking on one of those links opens up Process Director, and it does open up the task completion form. Now, the task completion form is fairly simple. This is what it looks like right here. Although you can't see it if it's all blue, but that's what it looks like. It just gives you the ability to pick a result from a drop-down. Now, if you click one of the result links, it will already be pre-selected for you. So if your result is yes, and you click on that, it will show up like this, pre-selected for you. But remember, we're in Process Director here. That means if we're not logged into Process Director, to see this tiny little form, we're going to need to be logged into Process Director. We need to be a Process Director user. This is not really completion by email. So I'm not a huge fan of this method, although there are times when it is useful. In which case, you probably don't want to use the email result links. What you want to use is the email complete link, because in the email, you want to give people the ability to just see specific results and only choose specific results in that email. So email result links shows you everything, shows you every result that's available to you in whatever activity is running. Email complete link allows you result by result to configure the specific results that you want to appear in the email template. So if you don't want to give somebody the ability, as in this case, I don't want to give somebody the ability to cancel a request or deny a request. The only thing I want to allow them to do is to either approve the request or ask for a request resubmittal. In which case, these are the two email complete links that I will place on the form. Just like the result links, it is going to have to open Process Director. I am going to have to be logged in and have access to Process Director. I have to be inside, if you're on premise, I have to be, inside the network to be able to access it. So, the same rules apply. I'm always going to this task completion page by clicking any of these links. Finally, we have the email complete URL, which is a third way of doing it, which actually does not show me any results on the email template itself, or on the email notification rather itself. So it doesn't show me the results. What it does is it provides a link that I can click. And when I do, again, it will take me to this same page, this same task completion page that I'm using for everything else. Except in this case, there won't be any result pre-selected for me. I'll just have to select the result. And if comments are required, I'll have to add my comments in there. So basically, I'm doing everything that I would normally do in Process Director, no matter which of these three methods you choose. I'm doing everything I would normally do on the form itself. I'm just not doing it on the form. I understand there are use cases when this might be necessary or when you might want to do this. I think as a general rule, as a best practice, although not we're not going to be fanatics about it, but I think as a general rule, what you actually want people to do is see the request. You want them to see the original form. You want to see it in the original context. If I use one of these three methods and it takes me to a form that looks like this, that doesn't give me a lot of information about whether I need to approve or deny or ask for a resubmittal. Doesn't give me any information at all. It says, hey, pick a result. And I pick a result, but I don't see any context of the request. Now, look, in some cases that might be fine. But I think in most cases, we do want to see the entire context of the request. So our primary method, and the one that I'm using for this webinar, is not going to offer any of the email completion methods that are available to you. I'm going to tell you they exist and tell you what they do, and then I'm going to ignore them for the rest of the webinar, because what we are going to do is provide a link to the form itself so that we can see the full request as it was done. We can see what happened previously. If there are any comments, we can see them. We can review the journal of comments. We can review the journal of milestones, and we can have a better idea of what's happening. We're not going to go just look at a blank page that has a drop down that says approve, deny, or resubmit without knowing what the request is. Real completion by email. And I've done a webinar on this, I know, in the past, with actual offline email completion, where I get my email notification, and from that notification, presumably you have given me enough information to make a decision, and then I can literally just hit reply on my email and type approve or deny and hit send, and I move on with my day. That is true offline completion. None of the methods that we talk about here are offline completion. All of them are in Process Director, and they're all done in this tiny little form that kind of exists out on its own. It's so generic, it's used for every single email completion control. So it exists, but I think our best option is to do this right here. So you've been assigned an approval task. Please open the form. I think this works more or less the way that we want it to work. We are, of course, going to have to go into our email data control, and we are going to have to give it a subject. So I am going to copy that system variable there because that is a form field system variable that has my request number, and we're assigning a unique request number to every process or every process instance. So I'm just going to say request number, whatever the number is, needs review / approval. Oh, it's the subject. So I guess I'm going to capitalize everything. So request number, whatever, needs review or approval. Great. I think we're done with this particular email template. We can now add our next one. Now, our next one, now this is going to go to both the manager and the department head. I might want to give them more information. When we talk about these email completion controls, it is possible to make this work and to give the user who's going to use a completion control the appropriate context to know that they need to know in order to make the appropriate decision. So while this is the bare minimum, we might want to provide more information for the user on this notification. So we can always add in form field system variables. There's a variety of things that we can do, but there are some limitations. So let's say that I wanted to, let's look at the form. So I want to skip back, not over there. I want to skip over there. I want to look at my, I'm going to get out of the process timeline for a second. I don't know if I've made any changes, so we better just leave there. And oh, I did not want to go all the way back there. You know what? Let's pin the content list so that I can make stuff easy to find for myself. So well, let's go into the form. And I might want to have the request info that I give to my end users, which I'm actually calling request info. So, and I've also got request type. Now, request type is a dropdown, and I have different values for the display text and the value. I think I'm going to want to show this in the email template. So let's use these two system variables. I've got request type and I've already copied request info, so I'll keep that. So we'll go request type and request info. And we'll make it clear it's request info from submitter. And this one's going to be simple, right? It's just a request info field. That's just a text field. So we'll drop in a system variable control and we'll just pop request info in there and we'll just call it we'll call it submitter narrative, whatever. And then we're going to do the request type. And we're going to have to do something a little bit different on the request type. We're going to need to format that as the display string. So while we're here, might as well, since we're using the documentation today, we might as well show you everything where it exists in the documentation as well. So we have to do something a little bit different for dropdowns because the value of a dropdown is always the value we set. So our values are going to be C, S, HR, and PTO. I guess we all understand what PTO means. What does C or S mean? Not entirely sure. We'll just say that those terms are capable of misinterpretation. So for a form field, especially if it's going to be a drop-down field, and it's maybe not here, maybe over here. This is an important formatter, although it only applies to really two types of controls. Actually, one type of controls, list controls. Now, there are a couple of different list controls. Certainly drop downs are list controls. List boxes are list controls. Radio button list controls are, as the name implies, list controls. It's right there in the name. And these controls can all have a separate value and display string. They're basically all the same control. They just have a different representation in the UI. And the list box control has an extra step of capability in that, unlike a data list or a radio list or radio button list or a dropdown, in a list box, I can, when configured, pick multiple items. Can't do that on a dropdown, can't do that on a radio button list. But all of them, being list controls, have a value property, which is the value that gets returned if we just say, some form field name. That's just going to give me the value, which in the case of a list control may be a number, it may be some sort of text string, it may be a GUID. That's not going to be good. We're going to want to show the user what the user sees, what they expect to see. So we are going to have to use format display string for this system variable that we are going to put in to our email template. So I'm just going to copy that, and for request type, we're just going to go in and add a system variable control. We're going to paste that here, although we are, of course, going to change some form field name with request type, which is, I believe, the name of the field. And we're going to use the display string formatter, and we're just going to call this request type. And once again, I am going to boldface this text here just to try to make it a little prettier. Pretty is important to me anyway. So great. Now I've got some extra information. Obviously, if there was more information I wanted to give, I could do that. I can nest embedded sections in embedded sections. Right? I mean, I can do a deal where I just drop in an embedded section, and actually that's not where I'd want to drop it. I'd want to drop it right here. I'd want to drop an embedded section at the very end of this line. And you know what? Let's just do this. Let's just implement this just to see it work. We got a whole hour left. So we are going to add in a embedded section right here, and we're going to call it section PTO. Section PTO. And we're going to give ourselves a line, and we're going to put PTO start. And we're going to grab the value of PTO start. So we're going to drop in a system variable control. Now, look, you don't have to use a system variable control. I mean, honestly, you can just type in the system variable right on the page in text. I could, I'll put it down here so I can get rid of it. I could just type in, okay, well, I'm typing in the wrong place. I'm just going to go ahead and do it so that we get this done. PTO start, there, I can just copy that. And we'll call it start. So I could, on the form, just put it in like this. There's nothing stopping me from doing that. It can go right into the text. When the email gets sent, Process Director will know that it is a system variable. It will parse it properly. I put them into system variable controls so that I can just go in and click on them and change them. It is a little more inconvenient to do. Technically, you don't need to do it. You can just put the text in as is. That's entirely up to you. I like to use the system variable control. So good Lord, what have I done? That was quite unexpected. PTO start. So let me go all the way back to there. So I have my PTO start date, and I'll put a you know what? I could have put a table in there to make my life easier, but you know what? I'm just going to put in a dash there and PTO end. And I think the form field is PTO end, but I have learned never to trust myself. Okay, it is PTO end. And so once again, system variable control, PTO end, and we'll call it end like that. And let's just throw in the hours too. Why not? Let's just go all in for the number of hours. So PTO hours is my field. So we'll drop another one in here. One last one, system variable control. PTO hours, and we'll just label it hours. And with that done, we will go ahead and drop in our embedded section end. So now we have an embedded section called section PTO. And I want to get rid of that extra row there. There we go. Looks prettier. Great. Perfectly happy with how this looks. This is all I need. Now we're going to have to make this. This is only going to be relevant if our request type is a PTO request. So I'm going to have to add in a little special sauce here in terms of conditions to ensure that this section only shows up if it's a PTO request. And I'm going to get rid of that R there too. Great. So now I've got three types of, or two different types of emails to send, and one goes to my approver, one is for resubmittal. Now we've got to handle the HR action. That I think is going to be pretty simple. I am going to I think I am going to, no, I'll just make it simple. I could make it much more complicated for HR. It's 1109. There's no reason for me to add any extra level of complexity. So we're just going to make a real simple one now for HR action. So again, we need to drop in an embedded section, which we'll call section HR. And we'll just put our generic notification in there. I want that generic notification to start right there after my embedded section. And in this case, a request requiring HR action has been assigned to you. Please open, and again, we'll just say the form, open the form to review and process the request. And then we'll give them their task instructions. If we wanted to, we could certainly add the request type and the request info. I guess there's no harm in adding those. So we'll have request type, and we'll go ahead and we'll add our request info. We won't worry about the PTO stuff. And obviously they'll need a new email data control for this. So we'll go to other controls, email data control. Okay. It is other controls. There it is, way down there. Don't know why I couldn't find it. So our email data control will be EDHR in this case, and the subject will be copy that, and we will change our subject down here to request number needs HR action. And we are done with that one. We can go ahead and drop in our embedded section end. And we're going to drop in one last embedded section, which we are going to call section notify. And this, our fourth and final section, will notify our submitter what has happened here. So we have no instructions. We do have comments though. So I am gonna kind of copy this and I'm gonna edit it down there. I'm just, lazy. So I'm trying to make my life a little bit easier. Obviously we're gonna have to change some text. So none of this stuff about approvers. HR has acted on your request and the disposition of and its disposition has been finalized. Please open the form to review it. Well, I didn't need to put that extra it there either. Task instructions. Well, this ain't a task. So this does not apply. So we're going to delete that. We do want to show them what HR said. HR comments. So actually, we don't even need that there anymore. Let's just get rid of that. Let's make this regular text again. And we will call this HR disposition. And we're going to have to change this. We do want activity users complete. However, the user that we want in this case is going to be HR action, I believe. Yes, it is. It is HR action. So we are going to copy that, go back over here and change. Actually, we're going to change everything because we do not need that result equals resubmit because that is not applicable. So we just need activity users complete, HR action, format equals comments. And we will call the label HR disposition. Did I spell that right? I did spell that right. So we'll call that HR disposition. Great. Well, that looks good. Happy with that. That's really all that we need to tell the end user, I think. But the end user does need their own email data control. So other controls, email data control, which we will call ED final notification. And our subject on that one will be, again, copy and paste, make our life a little bit easier. And we'll say subject is HR action complete for request number. And we'll capitalize that C. HR action complete for request number whatever. Great. Now I will go ahead and get my embedded section end in there. Okay, it looks like we have a working email template. You know what I have not done once? I have not saved it. Let's save our email template. I would have been enraged if I'd messed this up. So let's be sure that we save it so that we have all 4 of our messages. The reason why we're putting all 4 of our messages on here, of course, is to make our life easier in configuring the process timeline. So in the process timeline itself, if I go into the options, I've already got the ADC email template set as the default email template. So if I have this set here, I don't have to change this value in any of my activities. Now, sure, it might be that on some activities, I'm going to want to go to the notifications tab and I'm going to want to use a different email template than the default one. And that's fine. You can certainly do that. And indeed, you can use a different email template if you want for every single process timeline activity. That seems really tedious to configure, but you can do it. But the easiest thing and the least tedious thing to do, I believe, is to do what we have done here today, which is to create a multi-message, in this case, 4 different messages, email template. Now, this is a little tedious too, because now that I've created my template and I have my 4 sections and I have my messages, I do have one little problem, because on an email template, even though each section has its own email data control, only one email data control can be visible at any given time. Now, I didn't necessarily have to do it this way. I mean, it certainly would be possible for me to create just a generic email data control, stick it on there. Everybody gets the same subject, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted my emails to be at least minimally customized in terms of the response I see whenever the email or the subject I see whenever I receive the email. You can only have one email data control visible at one time. But even if I had not put a separate email data control into each one of these sections, if I just made one email data control and stuck it up here at the top, doesn't matter where you stick the email data control, it's not a control that appears on the email message itself anyway. Even if I had done that, however, even with the constraint that I can only have one and only one email data control visible at any given time, I'd still need to have a set of conditions that will ensure that each one of these 4 sections is only visible at specific times in the process. What I don't want to ever do is send out 2 messages in the same email, because let's say the conditions for both of these sections were true. Then it would show me both messages. That would be confusing. I really do need to have a mutually exclusive set of conditions to show for each email. Now, in this case, it's pretty easy because each one of these are going to show up in specific activities. And so I can use that as the condition for when they show. But I do have to configure them. I can configure them here. I can configure them in the form controls tab of the form definition, doesn't matter where, but we're all going to have to do the same thing. We're going to have to set up mutually exclusive conditions. I kind of like the form controls tab for this simply because it allows me to see everything kind of side by side without having to click around through the form. In fact, let's go ahead and do it there. I certainly could do it here. I could set my field properties. I kind of like seeing all my sections together. So I want to go ahead and close and say this. I think this is one of those weird cases where I just don't want to do it while I'm designing the form. I actually do want to go to the form controls tab and configure it there because all of my sections, because I all gave them the name section A, section B, section C, and all the names start with section. That means that they're all going to be sorted together on the form controls tab. In case you're wondering what I'm doing, I was going to take a drink of coffee and I just spilled coffee everywhere all over myself. I thought, oh, what a convenient time to quickly grab a sip of Joe. And I ruined it. Okay. This is not good because this I do want to delete because that's a bad field. I changed the name of that field to one of these. I don't know what's going on here. That is not what I want to see. Let me go back to my form. Okay, they certainly exist. I don't know if I've uncovered a weird bug or what. These properties are here. Okay, save, save, save. I'm not sure why these embedded section controls are showing up as asking for deletion. That seems odd. But again, I'm always running a version that none of you have. We have a question here on Q&A. You are missing an end embed section. Ah, thank you, Carly. I appreciate that. You have probably saved me a whole ton of, okay, so what, right there. There we go. Good eye. Layout, embedded section end. There we go. Okay, Carly, thank you. Thank you very much. Let me save it now. Ooh, boy, that had me sweating for a second. Like, what is wrong with my version of the product? Am I even going to be able to complete this demo, or have I just wasted an hour and 25 minutes of everyone's time? As it turns out, misconfiguration. I did not put in an end to one of my embedded sections. Ooh, it's so pretty. This is what we want. So we're going to go through these. Now they're in alphabetical order, but that's fine. They're all together, all of my embedded sections. That's why I named them this way, specifically because I want all of my sections to appear together on the form controls tab. When I do things like this, I'm now going to need to put in the visibility conditions for all of these. Remember, the visibility conditions have to be mutually exclusive. Now, it's not going to be super hard to do this, although I am going to need to have some reference to my names here. So I need to grab that, and I'll show you why. It would be so much easier if we were working with a form, but we're not working with a form. We're working with an email template. And although an email template is technically like a form, it's not a form. It uses many of the same features, but it is a form. Which brings up an important point. Email templates are not forms. email templates use the form feature to do one thing, and that is to create a text message that gets sent to users via email. That's all emails are, text messages. Sure, you get an email and it looks like it has lots of pretty pictures and colors and whatnot. That's an HTML email. HTML is plain text. Your email client, Outlook, is pretending that it's Microsoft Edge and is showing you a web page because it knows that the text it's receiving is formatted HTML. It's lying to you. It's faking you out because email messages are plain text messages. That imposes a lot of constraints on what we can put into the template. Basically, if it can't be literally interpreted out as text, it can't go into an email template. No input controls, no arrays, although you can make an array into a fake HTML table, and that will work. I have a webinar on that too, but no arrays, no input controls, no date time pickers, none of that. You are very limited because you are sending an email message. And no matter how pretty it looks in Outlook, all email messages are plain old text messages. So that's a limitation on the design side. But there's also a limitation on the implementation side. So I want this field to be visible when and only when otherwise hidden. And what I'd like to be able to do is to say, okay, well, I only want this visible when the running activity name is, and then there's this little thing down here, which I love. And if this was a form, this would be great because I would just pick timeline activity. Oh, and it would just show me the timeline activity, but it's not doing that. So you think to yourself, let's clearly associate our form with our process timeline. That's what the properties tab is for. We'll go into options and we will choose, we will not choose associate form with timeline because this is not a form. We can do a lot of things that make us pretend that it's a form, and we can look at it as if it's a form. It's not a form. I can't associate it with a process timeline. Now, what that means as a practical matter is that there are cool stuff on forms that I can use to make conditions that I can't use here. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't do something close to what I wanted to do just a minute ago. I can still look at the timeline activity and I can still pick the running activity name. Although in this case, I'm going to use contains requester. So the actual activity is requester resubmittal. So I'm just going to use requester. So unless that activity is running, requester resubmittal, then this field will be visible. Otherwise, it will be hidden. And I'm going to do something similar for all of these. So for section HR, and once again, field is visible when and only when, and then I can go ahead and create my condition real quick for my running activity name. Timeline activity, running activity name contains, and in this case, the running activity name will contain HR, obviously. And we're good with that. And by the way, the reason I'm here is so that I can mouse over each of these conditions that I set, because I'm going to want to be sure when I'm done that these are all mutually exclusive, with the exception of section PTO, which is going to be a little bit different. So once again, field is visible when. I'm picking field is visible when and otherwise hidden intentionally. I want to specify when I see this. And if that specification isn't true, I want this hidden. Again, I'm trying to make all of these conditions mutually exclusive. Now, I'm fortunate in that, well, I'm not that fortunate because I don't know what section I'm looking at. Section notify. Notification. That's fine. Result notification. So section notify, we want to ensure that the running activity the name contains notification. Now we're doing text matching here. So we got to be super careful that we get everything right. You people have seen me type, so you know how dangerous this is in terms of my ability to type legibly. I say it's hard to believe that I've written like 4,000 pages of product documentation, but trust me, I type better when I'm sitting and I'm not talking into a camera. Section resubmit, we're going to have to do that one, obviously. Once again, field is visible when, otherwise hidden. And we only want this visible when do we want this? Resubmit. Wait a second. Okay. I see conditions are hard. I give the wrong condition to the wrong section. I gave it to section approval. So we're gonna have to go back and re-edit that one. Timeline activity, running activity name contains requester resubmittal. So, oh, what have I done? Oh man, did I mess it all up? Oh, I ruined it. I got to do it all over again. Add condition, timeline activity, running activity name contains, I believe it's requester resubmittal. So requester will work for us here. So running activity name contains requester. Now, my approval section, that's the condition I just used is the condition I used in the approval section. That is wrong, 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 wrong. So the running activity name is going to have to contain manager for manager approval, or because I'm going to use this for two different activities, the running activity name will contain running activity name will contain department, because I do have department head approval, I believe, as my activity. So yes, it is department head approval. Great. So now I have four mutually exclusive sections. And I've got to do one more section, which is section PTO. And I only want that to show up if my request type is a PTO. So I'm going to have, and so this does not count in the mutually exclusive set that I have created. But we'll say this field is visible when, otherwise hidden, when the request type I'm going to have to do this by system variable. Again, this is an email template. Doesn't have a direct connection to the form or to the process timeline. However, I can use system variables because as long as this form field system variable exists, which is request type, so I can use that system variable form field for request type. And I think I wrote PTO. We'll see. We'll test all of this out in the last little bit that we have to us to be sure that this template works. Hopefully it will. initially. Okay, so section PTO we can kind of ignore. This section is going to appear only when the request type is PTO. Just note that I did have to use the system variable for request type. Now, the nice thing about using a form field system variable like that is that it should, just as it does in a knowledge view, if that system variable is evaluable in the context of this particular email template, when it runs, which it should be, because when it runs, it will be attached to the process, just like the form is. It should be able to show me those PTO start and end dates and the number of hours for PTO requests. Any other request type, I shouldn't see that at all. The other four sections should be mutually exclusive. Now, in this case, it's easy because I've got basically three different types of activity. And so I can create conditions based on whether those activities are running, whether I should see these sections of the email. Now, this works for me because I know that all of these activities happen in sequence. There's nothing happening in parallel here. If I had two activities running in parallel, well, I'd have to get a lot more picky on these conditions. These conditions will work and are mutually exclusive because I have no parallel activities. There will be no time at which the running activity is both manager approval and department head approval, or manager approval and HR action. So that makes my life a lot easier. If any of these activities were running in parallel, I would have to use different conditions. So the only reason this works is because of the particular architecture of this process timeline. I would need to change these conditions to whatever they needed to be to make them mutually exclusive to work if I had a different architecture in terms of my critical path in my process timeline. So you need to keep that in mind. This is just an example. Different architectures are going to require different conditions. And as I always say, conditions are hard. But I think we have an email template that that works. And one of the things that I usually do, and I got to turn on Outlook because I always turn off my email at the beginning of a webinar. What I didn't want to do is turn off Edge. Did I turn on Outlook? No, I think I just clicked on Edge and turned Edge off. All right, so I've got my application. We've got our form, we got our timeline. I think we tested along the line and everything worked. So now we need to test for email. So I have a whole bunch of emails. Actually, let me check one thing because I do this. I do this a lot, especially for webinars, and I don't even notice that I'm doing it. I always turn off the notifications. Ha 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 ha. Now I'd be wondering, why am I not getting emails? Well, that would be why. I turned this off because I was running through this stuff, of course, and I didn't want to have 1,000 notifications at the end of the webinar because I already get 1,000 notifications or emails a day anyway. So just adding to it like this is a bit of a pain. However, if we're going to test our email template, we're going to need to send notifications. So, well, that would work because it's configured to send to me. All right, so I've got a lot of stuff here. Let me go real quick just to see what I can delete from email that has shown up in the last hour. You would not believe how many emails I get from companies saying, "Hey, can I schedule some time to talk to you about, buying our stuff?" It's just enraging. Okay, so that clears up my email inbox. So now all the notifications that come in should be notifications from this process. So we'll hit OK there. All right, let's submit a form. And let's see how my email notifications run. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try to kill two birds with one stone. We're going to do a PTO thing, and we're going to see how the notifications for task assignments come across with PTO. Then we're going to return one, and we'll just take a look at our notifications. So the first thing I want to see is just a regular task assignment notification. So I'm going to pick time off. I'm going to have some request information there, and I'm going to pick that day to what I picked, the 29th. Okay, so we'll pick the 29th and 30th, give ourselves 2 days off, and then we will submit our form. And obviously the form is going to come to me as the manager. We've already tested all of this stuff, so we're in manager approval. And I got my first email notification. So let me open it up. Don't know what window it'll open up in. But conveniently it opened up in this one. So here is my initial email notification. Let me go back over here. I've got all this stuff open. I want to close this, close the form. So now it's just me and process director. I'm even going to close that. So let's be sure that our email link here. By the way, this is how ugly that link is. That's why we never want to expose this link. Why we always want to encapsulate it in a hot link control, because it is ugly with all of the GUIDs and whatnot. But if we click on it, it should open the form for me in task context. Boy, this thing that Edge does when you click on an email and it does this is worse than being stabbed. I hate it, and I don't know how to turn it off. But look, it opened my form. I can do my stuff. Let's go back and look at our email template a little more. It was a time off request. There's my task instructions. Great, because it was a time off request. Tells me what my start and end date are. Tells me what my total hours are. Tells me why I'm doing it. This looks like the email notification I was looking for. I'm super happy so far with how this thing is working. I'm going to delete this email notification, and I'm going to click on resubmit because obviously the very first time, well, I got to have comments. And I will hit resubmit, and that should send my comments back. It should put me back into request or resubmittal. It does. So in terms of that, oh, there's my process notification. It was returned for resubmission. Great. Oh, I can also make the form. No, I can't make the form editable. Yes. So I made the form editable. Then I can turn that off. Great. Now I'm just going to close the form without saving. My notification has popped in. And if I open it up, there we go. I've got my link to the form. Please open your request form to edit it. That works, even though it does that, which I hate. And it opens up a new tab. I really hate Edge and also Outlook. But anyway, I opened up my form. We're happy with that. I can resend the request. Presumably I've made the change to it. My approver comments came out right. It did come from my manager. The manager comments of no, please stay with us. And there were no department head comments. Obviously, it didn't make it there. So that email notification is working just fine. And because I resubmitted the task, it sent it right back to my manager. So he got the same email again. What I probably should have done is change that. So I could have seen a change on the form. I didn't. So we're seeing the same thing, but that's good. So we're going to delete that notification. I've decided that I'm going to approve this, which will take us to manager or department head approval. And so it's funny how I see the email message appear on my phone before it appears inside Outlook. There we go. Here is my notification to my department head. So the department head can do whatever they need to do. Obviously, the links and everything are the same. We've already tested those. We know it works, so I can delete that. Let's go ahead and just approve it, send it off to HR so that we can get our HR notification. It disappeared. Not sure why it disappeared. I should have been the was I ahead of myself? Or did I just click the wrong thing? I may have clicked the wrong thing. I may have not clicked the right result. I thought I did, but it didn't go to HR action. I might have a misconfiguration on this. On department head approval. I I thought I hit approve, but I'm not sure. Okay, don't know what happened. That's fine. Let's just do another one and let's make it a non-PTO one and let's just go straight through. So we'll hit run again. And the reason we're making it a non-PTO one is because I expect all of that PTO information to disappear. So we're just going to make this a simple suggestion and we will submit it. And I'm just going to run through the process real quick. We've already seen what a resubmit looks like, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to hit reviewed for manager, and then I'm in department head approval. I'm going to hit reviewed for department head approval, and it is going away. I am not getting to my HR action. Why am I not getting to HR action? Activity result, department head approval contains HR. I thought I fixed this last week. This is the exact opposite of what I want to happen. No, wait, it's needed when, does not contain department. I think this is the one that I want to go to HR unless department head approval hits the result resolved in department. Right. So it needs to be, if it's anything other than, if it does not contain department. Conditions are hard. Needed when department head approval does not contain department. Okay. This should work. So I should get everything as HR. I should get everything but a resolved in department issue. So let me save that. All right, let's try her one more time. So we're going to run it. I'm going to get all of these notifications. So hold on, before I run it, let me clear all of these notifications out. So once again, it's a suggestion. This would be good. We'll submit. And this should take us to manager. It does. Reviewed. And this should take us to department head. It does. Reviewed. And that should take us to the HR activity. It certainly looks like it's going there. It didn't just get rid of my form. There we go. We are in HR action. And obviously I can't submit without making X. So we will do this. It sounds cool. Approved. And HR action complete. And the last thing it should do is send a notification back to me, and that should end my process. So once again, with that, let's look at our notifications. You've been assigned a task approval. Okay, it is a suggestion. Because it is a suggestion, look, there are no PTO times like there was previously. Cool, works great, love it. And here is my email notification obviously for the manager. So that is good. And I have no more notifications. It says the folder is up to date. Okay. HR action, notifications, notify when activity starts. So I'm not sure where my other two notifications went. Could be a problem inside the notification itself. Again, conditions. Conditions are hard. So let's go back to our form, or rather our email template, because it looks like we have the appropriate stuff set there. And let's look at our conditions. Running activity, we know that works. We know that worked. Field is visible when running activity name contains notification. Oh, wait a second. Here we go. Never mind. Apparently, mail is just slow. So here is my HR notification. They just popped into my email inbox. So apparently, I have got everything configured correctly. So this is the one that goes for HR action. So this is the request that needs HR action. Suggestion. This is what the submitter thinks. Obviously, I click this, it opens the form, although my task is ended. So there's no task to do, but at least it opens Process Director in a useless fashion. Great. This email template is exactly what I expected, so I'm happy with it. And now I have my final disposition notification. HR has acted on your request. Disposition has been finalized. Please open the form to review it. Now, I don't have a task, so that's fine. It will still open the form. The form is now locked, as we discussed all the way back a month ago in week 1. So that's all done. My request is done. It's all submitted. I can review the routing slip, so I'm happy with that. And the email also tells me, where'd the email go? There it is right there. Our email also tells me what the HR disposition was. So I have all of the information I need to see how that worked out in the end. So as it happens, I managed to configure pretty much, almost, but not quite everything correctly. Our email notifications work the way that we wanted them to work. People are seeing the information that I want them to see. And with that, I have now shown you everything I wanted you to see over the past 4 weeks of some of the best practices and some of the advanced things to think about when making a little more mildly complex application that handles multiple types of requests, multiple types of results, does different things based on different results. And we're done. We've managed to go through the whole series in 4 weeks, which is amazing because it's taken us 3 weeks the previous time that we did this. So apparently I found more things to talk about. However, I'm out of things to talk about for now. So I'll say goodbye to you. I'll see you again next week. Until then, so long.